This is a 100mm angle grinder. Before you do any work on an angle grinder, do any adjustments or change the disc, make sure it's disconnected from the power. So there's several different options that we can use the angle grinder for. So we have a diamond cutting disc that's used for cutting bricks and concrete and ceramics. We have what's called a flat disc. It's got flaps of sandpaper on it. It's good for polishing surfaces, grinding down welds, polishing welds, and just generally doing a nice finish off grind. A cutting disc for cutting metals. You can also get cutting discs and grinding discs for cutting masonry, grinding down concrete. So we have cutting disc and a grinding disc. So the cutting disc, as you can see, it was much thinner than the grinding disc. It is not made for sideways pressure. Got an old one here. You can see how it flexes when you put pressure on sideways. That will cause it to shatter when you're using it. The angle grinder is very high RPM, so it's spinning very quickly. So the cutting disc is made for this type of pressure, that direction, not that direction. I'm disconnected from the power. I need to change this cutting disc to a grinding disc. Press this button here, spanner into the slot, and go to the left, anti-clockwise. So the nut has two different sides. It has a flat side, the side that's got a machined piece on it that fits into the center of the grinding disc to hold it on center. If we put the grinding disc back on and we put the nut on incorrectly, it doesn't clamp our disc down, so just be aware of that. For the cutting disc, it needs to be on the flat side. Okay, so my disc's okay, it's tight. Always, before you use a machine, always make sure the cutter's tight. The guarding is secure, the handle's okay, no damage to the body of it, no cracks, cable's okay, plug's okay, and check your switch works okay. Become familiar with how that works. Check the vents are all clear. Righto, so when we use this, it's going to generate sparks. So it rotates clockwise, so the sparks are going to shoot out in that clockwise direction. So if you hold it like this, the sparks are going to shoot off in that direction. Just be aware of that. Don't direct sparks at yourselves. Be aware who's around you. Direct the sparks away from them. If they are hot, so if you direct them onto your clothing or onto yourself, it'll burn through your clothing and it will burn you. Make sure you use the correct PPE. So whenever we're generating dust, we need to wear a dust mask or have some other dust extraction system. Safety glasses and hearing protection. Before we plug it in, any power tool, make sure the power switch is off so that it doesn't accidentally start. Get a good comfortable stance where you're stable and can see what you're cutting. Let the tool reach full speed before you apply it to the work to do its cutting. And don't force it, let it cut at its own pace. Make sure the power cord is out of the way of the cutter or out of line of cutting. Let the tool stop before you place it onto the bench. It is better to lay it up on the upside down like that.